And oh, my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulder. You raise me up to more than I can be. There is no life without its hunger. Each restless heart beats so imperfectly. But when you come and I am filled with wonder, sometimes I think I glimpse eternity. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. And I am strong when I am on your shoulder. You raise me up to more than I can be. And I am strong when I am on your shoulder. Oh, you raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always day that I could give you, I'd give to you a day just like today. If I had a song that I could sing for you, I'd sing a song to make you feel this way. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. In my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. If I had a tale that I could tell you, I'd tell a tale sure to make you smile. A wish that I could wish for you, I'd make a wish for sunshine all the while. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the wire. Sunshine almost always.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark say goodnight. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying how do you do. There than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side. When times get rough and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. When you're down and out and on the street, when evening falls so hard, I will comfort you. I'll take your part. When darkness comes and pain is all around, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. Sail on, silver girl, sail on by. Your time has come to shine. All your dreams are on their way. See how they shine. If you need a friend, I'm sailing right behind, like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your mind like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease
can find, and I do. But we both know the truth is hard to come by. And if I told the truth, that's not quite true. Some days a diamond, some days a stone. Sometimes a hard times won't leave me alone. Sometimes a cold wind blows a chill in my bones. Some days a diamond, some days a stone. Now the face that I see in my mirror, more and more is a stranger to me. More and more I can see there's a danger in becoming what I never thought I'd be. Some days a diamond, some days a stone. Sometimes a hard time won't leave me alone. Sometimes a cold wind blows a chill in my bones. Some days a diamond, some days a stone. Some days a diamond, some days a stone. Sometimes a hard times won't leave me alone. But sometimes a cold wind blows a chill in my bones. Some days a diamond, some days a stone. Some days a diamond, some days a stone. Sometimes a hard time.
Mull of Kintyre, all mist rolling in from the sea. My desire is always to be healed, O Mull of Kintyre. Far have I traveled, and much have I seen. Dark mist and mountain with valleys of green. Past painted deserts, the sun sets on fire as you carry me home to the Mull of Kintyre. Mull of Kintyre, all mist rolling in from the sea. My desire is always to be, O Mull of Kintyre. Sweep through the heather like deer in the glen. Carry me back to the days I knew then. be here, oh Mull of Kintyre. Smiles in the sunshine and tears in the rain. 'Twill take me back where my memories remain. Flickering embers grow higher and higher as they carry me back to the Mull of Kintyre. Mull of Kintyre, oh mist rolling in from the sea. My desire is always to be here, oh Mull of Kintyre.
Perhaps love is like a resting place, a shelter from the storm. It exists to give you comfort, it is there to keep you warm. And in those times of trouble, when you are most alone, the memory of love will bring you home.
Perhaps love is like a window, perhaps an open door. It invites you to come closer, it wants to show you more. And even if you lose yourself and don't know what to do, the memory of love will see you through.
Oh, love to some is like a cloud, to some as strong as steel.
For some a way of living, for some a way to feel.
And some say love is holding on, and some say letting go. And some say love is everything, some say they don't know.
Perhaps love is like the ocean, full of conflict, full of pain. Like a fire when it's cold outside, thunder when it rains.
If I live forever and all my dreams come true, my memories of love will be of you. And some say love is holding on, and some say letting go.
And some say love is everything, and some say they don't know. Perhaps love is like the ocean, full of conflict, full of pain. Like a fire when it's cold outside, thunder when it rains.
If I should live forever and all my dreams come true, my memories of love will be of you.
All of her days have gone soft and cloudy. All of her dreams have gone dry. All of her nights have gone sad and shady. She's getting ready to fly. Fly away. Fly away. Life in the city can make you crazy. The sounds of the sand and the sea. Life in a high-rise can make you hungry. The things that you can't even see. Fly away. Fly away. In this whole world, there's nobody as lonely as she. Nobody's lonely as me. There's nowhere to go, and there's nowhere that she'd rather be. She's looking for lovers and children playing. She's looking for signs of the spring. She listens for laughter and sounds of dancing. She listens for any old thing. Fly away. Fly away. In this whole world, there's nobody as lonely as she. There's nowhere to go, and there's nowhere that she'd rather be. All of her days have gone soft and cloudy. All of her dreams not quite true. Some days a diamond, some days a stone. Sometimes the hard times won't leave me alone. Sometimes the cold wind blows a chill in my bones. Some days a diamond, some days a stone. Now the face that I see in my mirror, more and more is a stranger to me. More and more I can see there's danger in becoming what I never thought I'd be. Some days a diamond, some days a stone. Sometimes a hard time won't leave me alone. Sometimes a cold wind blows a chill in my bones. Some days a diamond, some days a stone. Some days a diamond, some days a stone. Sometimes the hard times won't leave me alone. Sometimes a cold wind blows a chill in my bones. Some days a diamond, some days a stone. Some days a diamond, some days a stone.
Didn't know today would be our last, or that I'd have to say goodbye to you so fast. I'm so numb I can't feel anymore. I'm praying you just walk back through that door and tell me that I was only dreaming. You're not really gone as long as I believe. There will be another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight. Always made my troubles feel so small, and and you were always there to catch me when I'd fall. In a world where heroes come and go, well, God just took the only one I know. So I'll hold you as close as I can, longing for the day when I see your face again. But until then, God must need another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight, singing hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight.
The tide recedes but leaves behind bright seashells on the sand, and the sun goes down, but gentle warmth still lingers on the land. The music stops, and yet it lingers on in sweet refrain. For every joy that passes, something beautiful remains. And something beautiful does remain, the memories that you have of a dear mother, mother-in-law, grandmother, great-grandmother, sister, auntie and friend. I speak of June Mary Swinden. Nothing gave June more pleasure than to be surrounded by her family and friends, and I'm sure she'd be delighted and humbled that you're here today to say farewell to her and support those that she loved. So on behalf of Jeff and Karen, Kim and Rob and their families, I warmly welcome you as we come together to say goodbye, to celebrate and honour June's life. Your presence here today is greatly appreciated. Excuse me. Also, I wish to welcome those who are unable to be with us today and are joining us by live stream. My name is Delma Carpenter, a funeral celebrant, and along with Brendan and his colleagues from Parkside Funerals, it's our privilege to be asked to conduct this service for you. Could I please ask, if you haven't done so already, now's a great time for you to turn your mobile phones onto silent or off. Thank you. I might have another drink before I start. It went down the wrong way. So how will June be remembered? She'll be remembered for her warmth and her welcome. June loved people to visit. She'd greet them with a smile. The kettle would soon be boiling to make a cup of tea, and it wouldn't be long and her homemade cakes and biscuits would come out. Some of you will recall her handyman skills, or should we say, handy woman. June was a handy woman. She'd have a go at anything, from painting the house to tiling, laying lino, hanging wallpaper to dyeing furniture. Nothing stopped her. Then there was her keen interest in wanting to know what was going on in the world. She had an interest in politics, kept up with current affairs, and was an avid watcher of the ABC News. June was very knowledgeable and could talk about most things, and a lot of you will remember, having really interesting conversations with her. June would have done well as a contestant on The Chase. She liked to watch the show and could answer most of the questions. Going back a few years, the family remember their mother watching Days of Our Lives and Country Practice and other TV shows. She liked watching horror movies, and Karen, when she was young, she was allowed to sit up with her while the boys were sent to bed. And when it came to the scary parts, both June and Karen sat with cushions over their face. Then there would be a scream from behind the couch where the boys were hiding. June will be remembered as a crossword, Sudoku and word find fanatic. During her time at Yamina Park, June participated in most activities and was the best at Sudoku and the word games. She also had a lot of luck, needles clicking away, and she'd be talking and not even looking at her knitting. June was a beautiful, gentle soul who endeared herself to many. She was a loyal friend, one who would never say a bad word about anyone. And although June was quiet in nature, she had a wonderful sense of humour and enjoyed a bit of fun. She was strong and resilient and faced the many challenges that life put before her. June will be remembered for her love of her family. They meant everything to her, and she meant everything to them. It was about 4.5 years ago that June went to live at Yamina Park for the extra care and support that she needed. Although over the past few months June's health had been slowly deteriorating, her passing on Tuesday the 1st of June was not expected. When someone close to you dies unexpectedly, the loss can feel overwhelming. The reality that you will never again hear the sound of their voice, their laughter, hold their hand can be hard to accept. Your grief and loss is unique. It's okay to feel sadness and sorrow, but it's important to be gentle and compassionate with yourselves, to know that whatever emotion or feeling arises, it stems from your love of June. There is one constant truth that will hold true. You will always be connected to her by love you shared and the memories that you hold. I'm left in no doubt today that we're saying farewell to a lovely lady who's been an absolute delight to you all. Please join me as we take comfort in saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. Jeff, Karen, Kim and Rob had a loving, caring mother who wanted the best for them and always put herself last. They have fond memories of her cooking, the kiss biscuits, the cakes, and not forgetting the smorgasbord of food she cooked when the family all went for tea. Making each one their own favourite dish, there would be enough food on the table to feed an army. Having children of her own was special, but when grandchildren, all 12 of them, came along, well, that was special. June was the doty nan, sport them all with love and cuddles, and I was told that the grandchildren got away with a lot more than their parents did. While June's 9 great-grandchildren won't have the same memories of their nan, I'm sure that they'll learn of her from stories. Invite June's son Jeff to come forward, and he's going to continue with more memories and stories of his mum.
37, died 1st of June 2021. It was always a bit of a joke, June born in July. It was a bit of a family thing, that one. Hello, my name is Jeff, and it's my pleasure to represent my family in the sharing of the celebration of Mum's life with you, our beautiful mum, June Swinden. My sister Karen, brothers Kim, Rob and I would like to share our memories and some funny stories about Mum with you this afternoon. There was a few of them. We put a few in here, but there's a lot more than what we could sort of fit in. Mum was a beautiful soul. She was kind, gentle, although when she fired up she was a scary piece of work sometimes, generous and loving. June Mary Chilcott was born in Scottsdale Hospital on the 9th of July 1937. She's the eldest child of Norm and Olive Chilcott. Mum lived and grew up in a small town of Winnaleah, just out of Derby. And then Derby with the 5 brothers and sisters, Jeff, deceased, Robin, Beverly, Wendy and Donald. Mum's best friend was childhood friend Margaret Warren. I rang Margaret the other night and had to talk to her for a little while. She lives in Geelong, so she hasn't got a hope of getting over here. They lived just up the road from each other in Winnaleah, and although they lived in the same state at various times in their lives, different states at times in their lives, they always took time to catch up with each other and remain best friends to the end. Mum and Margaret used to get up to a fair bit of mischief, so they tell me, unbeknown to their parents, Nan and Pop. One time in particular, they were climbing around the top of a barn. Somehow Mum tumbled out, fell to the ground and ended up with pneumonia for some reason and was pretty sick. Unfortunately, that didn't stop Mum, even in her adult life, climbing on furniture, falling off things, and she never ever broke a bone in her body that I'm aware of. Mum's cousin Danny Crothers also lived at Winnaleah with his family. In her later years, they were lucky that Danny and Joe moved to Wynyard, and Mum had a fair bit to do with them at the time in various stages of their lives. Mum was 12 years old and the family moved to the Derby station from Winnaleah, where Pop worked on the railway. There are a lot of stories, or many stories told how they used to walk. I used to hear that all the time. Used to walk 5 miles to school and 4 miles home. Every day. You people don't know how good you got it, even in the rain and snow. We had the best holidays up there at the Derby station. It's probably the best part of my childhood life, really, going up there. And we timed it right, which was at Christmas most times. Our other aunties and uncles also went up there for the same holiday period. Auntie Bev, Uncle Mick, Cindy, Nadine, Rachel, Auntie Wendy, Uncle Tony, Vicky, Kevin, Livia, Uncle Donald, Fran, Lana, Jean, Matthew and Donna. Probably not all at the same time, but I tell you what, we timed it pretty well a lot of times, but we made great memories up there. Mum really loved the time spent up there, and Dad was catching up with the other part of the family. It's big writing. It just takes a lot of pages. He was up at the station in Derby that we kids were taught how to gamble. Most every other night, the cloth went onto the dining table and the cards come out. So did the jars, the coins. The card games were either poker or blackjack, and were taught by the best. Sometimes we even beat them. Mum finished her schooling at Derby where she turned 16, and her father told her she needed to move out and get a job because she was old enough now to earn her own keep. Imagine that happening today. So Mum moved into Launceston where she began work at the telephone exchange as a telephonist. It was not properly known as the PMG in those days, had various name changes since, and later changed its name to Telecom. She lived in an apartment building in Launceston, which is still standing presently, and shared with other girls also working at the PMG. Mum enjoyed her life there and met a lot of her best friends, and one of her best friends, Kay Leslie McPherson. Seeking adventure, Mum and Kay went to Adelaide to work part of an exchange program with the PMG at the time through the telephone exchange. From all accounts, she had a wonderful time working, going out to dances, shopping. Sadly, a friend Kay passed away September last year, so Kay's gone as well. Still in Adelaide, Mum met a young man named Kenneth Sterling Swinden. They became engaged and were married on the 22nd of September 1958. Mum's younger brother Jeff also moved to Adelaide at the age of 18, and he was engaged to a young girl named Miriam, or Mim, she was known as. They had bought a block of land overlooking the sea at Moana Beach and were looking at building their dream home at the time. Just a couple of weeks after Mum and Dad's wedding, Mim's younger sister came to visit at the block, so they decided to go for a swim. Unfortunately, they got caught up in a rip, which took them out to sea, so Jeff ran into the water to save them. Although he managed to get both girls out to safety, he drowned himself at the age of 18. Then in 1959, I was born and given the name Jeff in honour of Mum's younger brother. Only a year or so of age, Mum was contacted by Rachel, the youngest... No, I'll start that bit again. Only a year or so ago, Mum was contacted by Rachel, the youngest sister, who put Mum back in touch with Mim. They enjoyed to catch up over a couple of phone calls, and in the last one, Mim told Mum that she still thought of her sister and sister-in-law, loved her very much. Mum was so touched that she was in tears, had tears in her eyes, so she told Karen about the call. We left Adelaide when I was a year old and moved to Hobart, where Mum's brothers and sisters also lived. Dad was in the police force in South Australia and had transferred to the Tasmanian Police in Hobart. In 1962, Mum headed up to Derby so Nana could look after me while Mum went into hospital, Scottsdale Hospital actually, to have Karen. Actually, I forgot she was even born at Scottsdale the other day. Then after a week or two, we headed back home to Hobart. We moved a couple of times, but our favourite place, and it was a nice place, was down at Marville Esplanade at Sandy Bay, right down on the beach. We had some good times down there too. We were right opposite the beach and loved it. We started school at Albury Street. Each day Mum would walk both Karen and I to school. And on some days, I'd be waiting on the back doorstep when Mum got home, so she'd have to take me all the way back. I hated school, so I used to bolt. Going to school, Mum would have to turn around and walk us all the way back to school again. Yeah, she didn't go much on that. In 1967, the bushfires hit, and Mum remembered rushing up to the school early to pick us up and said how the sky was eerily dark in the middle of the afternoon. I'll never forget those fires down there. It was terrible. And she said it felt like everything was on fire. Ash was falling, houses and hills were all on fire. We were pretty bright because we lived right on the beach, so there was no danger of us being caught up in it. When I was 10, Karen 7 and Kim 5, Dad took a job with the Customs Department, or Border Patrol, whatever they call it these days, and moved the family up to Burnie. Rob came along in 1969, and after we moved to Burnie, we remember Dad picking us up at school early so we could go and see Mum and Rob at the hospital. The most vivid memory of us taking us to the viewing of the window at the hospital, at the nursery, we stood there looking at the babies and the nurses would hold up for the family to see. We were all there, cute amongst the ball babies, just saying they were just laying there quietly, and we're looking at them until Dad said, "That's ours, the one over there." and you've never seen a baby with so much black hair in your life. I'm not sure what happened now. Well, the shock, we looked over here, over to the right, and there he was screaming, red-faced baby with a head of completely covered in long black hair. We were mortified that it belonged to us. Of course, Mum thought he was beautiful. Mum adapted pretty well to life in Burnie, although looking back, it must have been so hard being separated from her brothers and sisters, being the only one living up on the northwest coast and the rest in Hobart. They were all so close, and travel was very limited those days. These days, you think nothing's sort of going that direction. Life chugged along in Burnie, and when I was 15, Mum applied to Telecom for a job as a telephonist again with the Burnie Exchange. Her application was successful, and she began her crazy, busy life. She had 4 children, would work, shift work, sometimes working 3 to 11 at night, one day after having to start work again at 7 in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. She would have tea cooked, clothes ready for us for school, house tidy before she left in the morning at 6:45. Don't know how she did it. Probably still don't. She loved the ladies and where she worked and was happy there until she retired. But these are the stories, but it's the stories in the years before she retired that we wanted to share with you. Like you said before, she was a bit of a handyman guru. She literally owned that tag in the day when we were kids. She did everything around the house. Dad was absolutely hopeless when it came to that. She painted rooms, she wallpapered, she dyed the carpet, she fixed the furniture, she put flat pack furniture stuff together, she done everything. She was amazing when it came to that. She also had a fair share of what on earth was that thing. I'll start that again. She also had a fair share of what on earth was she thinking moments. There's a couple of things here we'll go through what actually happened to her. Kim remembers Mum painting her bedroom one day, and she was standing in the room when he was talking to her, watching her paint. Mum was standing on a stool. As she finished painting the cornice, she finished checking out her job while she's still standing on the stool. Then Kim watched her in amazement as she looked across the room, realised she missed the spot and tried to reach it. Well, you know what happened there, don't you? The paintbrush swiped down the wall, the paint ended up on the wall, on the floor, and she didn't break any bones. Lucky she only damaged her pride. Kim had to pick himself up off the floor from laughing at her, which we all did at some times, things she done. Another time, we kids, after tea, she would go and play in the bed. Oh, yes, after tea. World Championship Wrestling was back in the day, if a lot of you remember that. My nan used to love that show. Anyway, we used to go up into the bedroom. What we do, we used to turn the lights off, shut the door, and just hit anything that moved. So we'd punch each other, kick each other to pieces. Anyway, the door come open, and I thought, one of them's trying to escape. So I did the old flying drop kick in the day, as it was in the wrestling, and bang, nailed it. Anyway, I thought, flicked the light on. It was Mum. She come in the room to tell us to shut up. Anyway, Kim helped her up and took her out to the lounge room, and I tell you what, we copped it after that. Mum didn't get, I think I missed one. Here we go. Another heart stopper happened one night. When Rob moved to the mainland. He had this whole Cortina. If you're a Ford person, you'd love it. If you weren't, you'd hate it. He had this Cortina parked in the driveway. Mum and Dad were in bed. She heard a noise. Someone was trying to steal the car. Right, out of bed she got, yelling out to Dad. Someone was stealing it. Out she ran, and she yelled out to Dad to come and help her. Well, that wasn't going to happen. He just rolled over and went back to sleep. Out she went, and she actually jumped on the bonnet of this car while this person was trying to steal it. And they got halfway up the driveway and it stalled, so they give up, so they just bolted, and Mum was still hanging on the front of her. Who'd do that? Anyway, that was that one. Speaking of cars, Mum had a habit of not looking when she gets into cars. This particular day at Upper Burney News Agency one day, she hopped into this car, it was parked out the front. She sat there for a good minute, wondered why the car why he didn't start the car, that's Dad, and head home until she heard a baby cry in the back seat and looked round and found out she's sitting in the wrong car. Dad was sitting behind her in the car behind her, laughing at her. She apologised and jumped out of the car, looked around, and there's Dad, like I said, parked behind her, laughing at her. Mum didn't get a licence till she was 54, and how's that? I remember taking Mum for driving lessons. How's that work? It's 54, so most days she had to catch the bus to work. She always tried to do a couple of extra things before the bus turned up, and she'd see the bus coming round the corner, and she'd bolt out the door down the driveway to the bus stop, which is just outside the house, just down the road a bit. In the end, Reg Singleton, who was the bus driver at the time, he pulled up outside the driveway regardless whether she was going to work or not, just to see if she was coming. Mum didn't work some days, but Mum didn't work some days, but not realising this, Reg always, like I said, always pulled up at the driveway and always waited for her, and she'd have to run out and say, "I'm not coming to work today, Reg," and he'd drive off. They all got used to doing that. Mum didn't appear to have a natural affinity with wildlife either. She'd been working in the garden one day, heading in for a drink. Well, she just got inside the back porch, felt something on her leg. She started screaming, dragged the strides off her, and she'd been bitten by something. Anyway, it ended up being a snail. Can snails bite? But anyway, apparently they can. Anyway, that's what it was. She was adamant she was bitten by a snail. We never let her forget that one. Back in the late 70s, back in the late 70s, invited to Susan Cameron's engagement party in Burnie. Karen Cameron, now Karen French, was Karen's best friend. They welcomed us inside and showed Karen where she could get herself a drink. She made her own. Make your own, she said. Well, Karen had no idea how much alcohol or soft drink to put into the glass, so she just woofed it in there. And the last thing she can remember, Dad made Mum a drink, too strong as usual. As you would expect, she couldn't remember much about that night either. So later in the night, Karen woke up in the foyer, propped up against the wall, to hear a couple of old ladies standing in front of her saying, "How disgusting, someone can so young get so drunk at someone else's party." And then they said, "And her mother's sitting beside her." Well, Mum was tanked too. Well, Karen glanced sideways and there was Mum. She propped up against the wall, completely out of it beside her. Anyway, that's a story she never forgot. The last story is about Mum's first and last ride on a roller coaster. The Chilcot clan were up in Queensland for a wedding, and one day they decided to go to the theme parks. Mum thought she'd hop on one of the roller coasters. Where Wendy didn't want Mum to go alone, so she thought she'd better go and keep her company. Well, Mum's grandchildren started... I've got the right one, haven't I? I might have screwed up there. Yeah, get that, don't you? Oh, it's stuck together, sorry about that. Well, it went up the first hill, dropped down over the top. Auntie Wendy was in agony, thought she was going to die. She glanced at Mum and thought Mum was having a stroke. Mum's mouth was all twisted and her lips were all puckered up, but luckily her hands were still gripping the safety bar. The ride was over not too soon, and Auntie Wendy was pretty worried and asked Mum if she was okay. Mum said she was fine. But as they were speeding around the corner, she thought the folks' teeth were going to fly out, and that's why she had her lips all puckered up. Never on a roller coaster again. As much as Mum loved us kids, we were quickly put in second place when the grandchildren started arriving. She absolutely loved spending time chatting and playing with them. They gave her so much joy and provided so much laughter in her life. Mum was so proud of all their achievements and followed everything that they did, whether it was watching the sports they played, going to award nights, concerts. Mum always was there. She was the loudest supporter of the biggest cheerleader. The kids loved knowing that Nan was supporting them. What was said, well, she never forgot a real lot to later stages. So when she spoke to them, she FaceTimed them next. She knew exactly what they were up to. So to Kyle and Amelia, Joel and Jess, Danae, Corey, Dane, Nan missed you all dreadfully. She loved the phone calls, the FaceTime, I love you and what you experience life to the fullest. And to Ella and Lucas, Matthew and Gabby, Tyler and Siobhan, Sarah, Josh, Kira, Spencer and Ava. Nan loved it so much when you popped in or phoned her unexpectedly. It really made her day. She loved her regular lunch dates and she really loved hearing her all on the phone. She had a regular lunch date with Karen every Friday. The menu didn't change much. She loved the Thai food. To Kim's wife Marley, Rob's partner Tammy, Mum loved having you all join our family in recent years and appreciate your love and care. She loved you all very much and you had a very special place in her heart. It's starting to get a bit hard now. We'll get there. Mum also had a deep love for Karen, Clara and Tracy. She had many cherished memories made over the years and her life was so much better for having you in it. Mum also regarded Stephen as one of her boys and she thought he was her second mum. They both shared many great memories over the 40 years and a deep love and respect for each other. She patched him up a few times after we had a few punch-ups at pubs. We'd come home and she'd fix us up and away we go again. Didn't she, big boy? After a while, Mum's great-grandchildren arriving and she was over the moon and excited. She had nine grandchildren all up. Kyle and Amelia's children, Jordan, Deacon and Summer, Ella and Lucas's children, Matilda, Rose and Henry. Well, that was it. Mum didn't just give you 9 cuddles a day. She got 9 cuddles of everyone that was there. Sometimes it might be over 60 in one session. Everyone knew the rules, so everyone got one. Another of Mum's special things was to phone up whenever you had a birthday and sing the song over the phone, all the way through even. It was a highlight of a day when the call come through from Nan. Mum was 79 when she moved into Yamina Park. Mum embraced life there, took part in the many activities. As before stated, she loved won bingo and other games there that she'd play bocce and other different things she liked. She liked the word games on the whiteboard. She took part in footy tipping and raked in some good winnings and prizes. A couple of ladies that worked in Telecom, or Telstra as they are known, were also residents of the North Lodge because they enjoyed getting together and reminiscing about their old work days. Mum had some of the beautiful carers working. I'll start again. Mum had some of the most beautiful carers looking after her, and she really loved them. We like to thank them for caring for Mum so beautifully. You were also a family, and she was really happy that you were part of the home. A big thank you to Dr. Keith MacArthur, who cared for Mum. You were so gentle and kind to Mum, and we really appreciate all they did for her. We have so many stories and memories, but it's impossible, like words from Danny Crothers, it's impossible to fit 83 years in life into half an hour. It doesn't happen. But we hope you got a bit of an indication of how special our mum was to all of us. So we treasure the memories we have of our beautiful mum, and we'll never forget her love for us, and hope she knew how much we loved her. Sleep peacefully, Mum. Forever in our hearts. Thank you.
I think you need a clap.
Oh, no, it's all right. There's a lot there.
Thanks, Jeff. June's granddaughter, Ella Plapp, has wrote a prayer and she'd like to share it with us.
Dear Lord, thank you for Nan's life and all the years we shared with her. We lift her to you today in honour of the good we saw in her and the love we felt from her. Please give us the strength to leave her in your care in the knowledge of eternal life through Jesus Christ. Though her 9 hugs are gone forever and her hand we cannot touch, we still have so many memories of the one we love so much. Her memory is now our keepsake, which with will never part. God has her in his keeping, and we have her in our hearts. Amen.
I now have an invitation for any family or friends who'd like to come forward.
I took the supermarket flyers from the windowsill. I threw the day-old tea from the cup. Packed up the photo album Matthew had made. Memories of a life that's been loved. Took the get-well-soon cars and stuffed animals. Poured the old ginger beer down the sink. Dad always told me, don't you cry when you're down. But Mum, there's a tear every time that I blink. Oh, I'm in pieces, it's tearing me up. But I know a heart that's broke is a heart that's been loved. So I'll sing hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mum. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go. When God takes you back, he'll say hallelujah, you're home. Fluffed the pillows, made the bed, stacked the chairs up. Folded your nightgowns neatly in a case. John said he'd drive, then put his hand on my cheek and wiped a tear from the side of my face. And I hope that I see the world as you did, 'cause I know a life with love is a life that's been lived. So I'll sing hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mum. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go. And when God takes you back, he'll say hallelujah, you're home.
that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. I say love, it is a flower, and you, it's only seed. It's the heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance. It's the dream afraid of waking that never takes the chance. It's the one who won't be taken, who cannot seem to give, and the soul afraid of dying that never learns to live. When the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long, and you think that love is only for the lucky and the strong, just remember in the winter, far beneath the bitter snows, lies the seed that with the sun's love.
I found a love for me. Well, darling, just dive right in and follow my lead. Well, I found a girl, beautiful and sweet. Well, I never knew you were the someone waiting for me. 'Cause we were just kids when we fell in love, not knowing what it was. I will not give you up this time. Darling, just kiss me slow. Your heart is all I own, and in your eyes you're holding mine. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, or listening to our favorite song. When you said you looked a mess, I whispered underneath my breath, but you heard it. Darling, you look perfect tonight. Well, I found a woman stronger than anyone I know. She shares my dreams. I hope that someday I'll share her home. I found a love to carry more than just my secrets, to carry love, to carry children of our own.
I'd like to share a verse with you chosen by the family to read at their mother's funeral. It's called "You're My Star in Heaven, Mum." I'm sending a dove to heaven with a parcel on its wings. Be careful when you open it, it's full of beautiful things. They have asked me on their behalf to thank those people who went out of their way in the last few weeks to support them with their visits, flowers, phone calls and the many messages. It's very much appreciated. I warmly invite you to join the family here at Parkside for refreshments, and this is where you'll be able to share your thoughts and your memories with the family and each other. The time has come for us to take June to her final resting place, and you're most welcome to join us for the burial service at the Burney Lawn Cemetery next door. If you are unable to come with us, you're most welcome to wait here at Parkside for the family to return. Please stand if you are able.